show. What a night. This is what you've come for, and so am I.
Tell me, what's the number one television show in the whole wide world? And who loves you, and who do you love? One more time, yeah!
Big round of applause for all of our undercard competitors who today died so gruesomely. Good sports.
He is the creature. What can you say about him? Well, he's unique. There's none like him. I feel a special connection with him.
Without further ado, it's time to start running!
Hey everybody, welcome to Thursday. It's Thursday, it's March 28th. Welcome. How's everyone doing? Rough start today. Real rough start. To be honest with you, didn't even want to do the show. GPT is really not working well today. I don't know if it's just today, if it's been for some time, if it has been for some time, I'm not entirely sure. It's just been ridiculous in terms of me having to overtly instruct it on how to do things. I'm not really sure what's happened in the last couple weeks. I don't really know what OpenAI has been doing platform-wise, what they've been doing expansion-wise, or any of that. I don't really care. What is really saddening to me right now is that OpenAI is not taking its time with anything that it's doing and is now turning into Google. So it's one thing to release an awesome tool and have it be so powerful. It's another thing entirely to continually ninja update and ninja patch this thing. For those of you that don't understand that terminology, if you've ever played an online game that is like a MMO style where there's just sort of like ongoing expansions to the game, as those expansions happen, the game usually has tweaks that happen to it. Most every game has these tweaks, and when they do, there's patch notes that get released because the software has been patched. So the notes basically detail what has been changed, what's been upgraded, downgraded, whatever values that might have changed or what have you. I'm sure that there are patch notes for every change that gets made to GPT. I'll tell you this much. Whatever the BS is behind the curtain of like, oh, let me see what it says in terms of last time it was updated, because whatever it is just absolute garbage. It doesn't even have the date now. That's even worse. It doesn't even show the date anymore. Down here at the bottom, it used to show you when GPT was last updated. Updated over a week ago. Memory and new controls. So now you're not even, you have to go manually check to make sure to see that they updated it, right? That's it. These new, like this can't possibly be what's screwing it up. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. What I do know what to say is that I'm really unsatisfied with it like right now. I actually hit my prompt limit earlier today, which infuriates me because it's practically impossible for that to happen to me at this point. It's really like I use GPT almost all day long and I will never hit my prompt limit. But today doing something different. Now, when I say I use GPT all day long, I do. I use it in conjunction with my job. I use it in conjunction with, things outside of the job, with, setting up stuff for the show, with, setting up things for either talks or discussions or whatever it is, any sort of planning, anything like that. Now, I use custom GPTs in order to do that. I don't use like just the regular normal facing GPT-4 rather, to do that. So I'm not working with the normal GPT-4 model all the time. But when I do, I expect it to operate at the base level that I would interact with a custom model on. So if I'm using the base level and it's not operating at like in that very minor aspect of the capacity, like I don't know. I really don't. Like it's really upsetting to me. It's really disappointing. It's just really, really upsetting between yesterday and today. So I can honestly say for the better part of 6 hours, I've been trying to get data, like sample data set up to use for today. It's important sample data. It has to be that data. Otherwise there's no purpose in me showing you anything. And I have been fighting with GPT since yesterday afternoon, trying to get it to do this. And it's like it's been pulling teeth, and it's been the worst experience I've had using GPT so far. It immediately, if it wasn't for like, this is what sucks, like, Anthropic, all these other companies, you want to talk trash, do the same thing. Everybody's sitting here saying that like, oh, Claude Opus is so good, and look at the tuning, and it's actually outperforming GPT. Great, you don't have any of the same capabilities. You can't generate images. You can't, even though you can take uploaded files, you can only use it as just a premise. You can't actually generate any files. You can't generate file types, Word, Excel, otherwise. Yeah, okay, you can do code. Honestly, like the base models now are doing these things. There's nothing special about about Opus. Okay, it writes really well. That's it. It writes really well, and its understanding is good. Awesome. Utility wise, it's garbage, right? Almost the exact same things that Claude can do, I can do with Pi. And the only thing I'm missing on Pi is the upload capability. But to be honest with you, Pi could give me a greater output than Claude can. It's like, and it's infuriating because GPT is the only model that has all of these capabilities. This multimodal horseshit that Google shoved out the door with Gemini, and it doesn't do anything, and it's broken, and it sits there and tells you how inferior it is, and has no problem talking down about itself, has no problem screwing up images that it tries to generate. It's garbage. Gemini is straight garbage. Like, I would almost rather use Google search over trying to use Gemini to do something, right? Whatever you could do with Gemini, you can do with any other model, and it would be better, hands down. I don't care what it is, right? You want to talk about like how useless Google is at this point? Quite literally, when I do a Google search, the only thing I care about now is the AI summarized aspect that pops up that can give me the information I care about, which should scream problems to all of you that are in marketing and advertising, because if all we care about is the information, and let me tell you something, that information is coming up before anything else that we see from you. Let me see if it actually has. Let's go to the one that's enabled. Okay, so I just want to know the answer to a question. Now I don't have to care about any of your advertised stuff, any of your sponsored stuff. Whatever answers would have shown up here, right? Can hear how angry my typing is. Okay, so now I don't care about any of the sponsored answers now, right? Like, that's what's happening. So, and you guys might think that like, oh, it's not actually happening. I'm sure what Google is going to do eventually is it's going to start putting all the sponsored stuff up here, because they're going to figure out sooner than later that realistically, if I want the answer to my question, it's here. right? What are my best options? I don't really want to go shop for options. And I don't really like, if we're talking about like what are the best, again, you're trying to find out informationally. Now I don't even care about other people's websites. Now I know that all of that information is just getting aggregated into one place. So why would I bother going to look at your site? Now, maybe if I need some additional detailed information or something like that, and I really like the source that it's coming from, okay, fine, I'll go click through and I'll take a look at it. Or now that I have this information and I want to go buy items related to it, that's how far I'm traveling now on search. Right? That's it. I don't know what the purpose of all of the rest of this is anymore, because I'm never using it. I'm not like, if I am looking for something on Google that goes beyond this initial window, it's because I'm looking for a very specific website or like a particular Amazon product. That's it. Like maybe I typed in the name of the site wrong and I can't find the site, right? And I'm using Google to find the site, or I'm looking for a product, or I'm looking for an image. That's it. That's all I use Google for anymore. If I'm actually looking for information and using Google, the answer is right here. I don't have to go search the pages, so I don't care, right? Back to the problem at hand. The major issue I have is like, don't update, don't tweak, don't do anything, don't touch it until you tell us. We're paying for it. We're paying for it now, right? Like we're paying. I'm sure you were making countless amounts of money monthly off of this thing now, not to mention the amount that you're making from enterprise clients, which I know that you're just going after left, right, and center, not to mention the amount of money you're making off the API calls. So don't tell me that the funding isn't there to be able to do this kind of thing, to be able to just, I don't know. It's so easy. Go back to putting the date of the update down here and take the link to learn more and put it right next to it, right? That's it. And I don't know, maybe take a page from HubSpot. Maybe make use of the fact that those are beta features, right? And allow us, give me the option to enable whatever that stuff is. Look at how old the last beta feature you had the option to actually get into was. Oh my God, what is going on there? The last beta option, or the last option you had, or the last thing was plugins. How long ago did plugins come out? And that's the last opt-in. Whatever other options, the memory, all of that, those should all be beta features that I have to opt into. None of that should be anything that I have to like actually, I don't know, not make an effort for. Like none of that should be forced upon me to the point where it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't even want, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It shouldn't be forced upon the user. It really shouldn't, because whatever is happening right now is screwing things up massively. That's why I'm so upset right now, is because I really wanted to show you guys something that I know is going to be awesome, and now I can't show it to you simply because of the fact that simply because of the fact that GPT-4 isn't like, it's not operating properly, and there's jack that I can do about it. I think the worst aspect of it to me is the fact that what I'm doing is something that I did, I don't know, I did it last week before last, and it was working just fine. Yeah, it was taking a little finesse to get it to do the answer that I wanted it to do, like to give me the type of answer that I wanted it to give, but it was still doing it. I'm not even joking when I say it took me quite a while just to get around to, like, I had to actually engineer a prompt today, which is just infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating, because it's not as if I don't know how to work with these models. It's not as if I haven't made this kind of request before. Again, I made this request last week, so it's already fresh in my mind as to how I need to formulate the context in the prompt in order to get it to do the same thing again this week. Wasn't even using the same contextual window, right? The same conversation. It was a new conversation. So like altogether, I shouldn't have to use the old conversation for it to memorize and remember what it was we were working on, so that it understands what we need to do now. I should only have to explain the context again, give it the same type of data again, and then it should give me the same type of output again. But it was just, it was off the wall. It was absolutely off the wall. The type of stuff I was trying to generate sample data, and the best way in which to do that is to prime your spreadsheet with your axes of data, whatever you need. So if your y-axis should have whatever the types of data are that you want to use for cross-referencing, let's say, and then your x-axis should have with the columns. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. You should have some data in your spreadsheet that you're using in order to garner the information for the rest of the cells that you're missing. So in this particular case, I have given it, company size, number of employees, job title, job function, and company industry. Those 5 pieces of information should allow it to take what's present and use that to then answer the questions that I'm giving it, right? And I've created the context. Again, I'm not even going to get into it. I've done everything. Wrote like an essay of a prompt with the like, that's how detailed I had to get with it. Like, in other words, the best way I can explain this is that GPT-4 has gotten dumb, very, very dumb. And I am having to explain every little minute detail on top of telling it, do not do this. Make sure you don't do this. Make sure you don't do that. Like, it's really bad now because it is supposed to be able to infer, but it is not doing that now. And I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not. What is the point of working with a system that I might as well do it myself? Like, that's how frustrating it got. Sitting there wasting like 45 minutes and getting locked out of prompt use was absolutely ridiculous. Not to have gotten the result that I needed within that amount of time and to get locked out on top of it that's how I knew. It was just like, wow, it's very easy for me to tell that something is absolutely broken in this thing, because why do I not have the information that I'm trying to get, right? Or anything even close to it. Like, when I tell you I was fighting with it, I was fighting with it to the point where I actually started to have to negatively comment about it and basically give it negative feedback and tell it, like, I really don't understand why you're having a problem doing this. I don't like what I'm asking you to do is very simple. I'm only asking you to do this, but you keep wanting to do that. Like, quite literally, just it's almost like the best example I can give you is if you ever ask GPT to write a social post for you, it'll by default throw in so many emojis, it'll just wig you out. I guarantee you, if you ask it and say, hey, yeah, can you please stop using emojis? Don't do that again. It'll say, yeah, for sure. And it'll probably, write you another post and gotta tell you that it could contain an emoji, but odds are it will contain an emoji in the response. GPT will start acting sarcastic to you and start being like, whoops, I put an emoji in there. Sorry about that. And as you keep moving forward, I don't know, probably 10 or so responses in, you'll see the emojis pop back up, right? Like, it starts acting. Man, I know that we wanted these things to be able to mimic humans, but they are acting too much like humans now, because they were starting to get sassy. They were starting to sort of not do what you want them to do, even though you're asking them to do it. So it's almost like talking back and or being passive aggressive. That's honestly what it feels like to me. Working with GPT today felt like it was just very passive aggressive. Like, hey, can you pick this up and put it over there? Pick this up from this desk and put it on that desk. Oh, okay. And put it on the far side of that desk. Like, wow. Okay. I just meant like take it from where it is now and put it to that same position on that desk. Oh, okay. Takes it from where it is on this desk, puts it on that desk in the same position, turns it sideways. Wait, man, I didn't say turn it sideways. Look, can you just, like, without doing anything else, can you please take this thing and put it on that desk? I can't actually move that thing because I'm not allowed to do anything else. Like, that's the attitude, the way it was working with it today. And it's just, I don't get it. I'm really upset. I hate when I can't show you guys how to do something that I know is going to be awesome, and I know it's going to be like super useful for you. File to download. So then I got locked out. I was let back in at 12:13, 12:15, something like that. And since then, it's still been a bit of a struggle, like really trying to get it to understand like what, I don't know. It's really frustrating. What we were going to do today is I was just going to go like just completely ham on taking the firmographic data that we got from the psychographic information last week, from the write-in data last week. And I was going to take that to the nth degree and show you guys how, like, okay, well, now we can unpack that and turn that into deeper strategy. We can turn it into what? Oh my God. Now it's, man. That doesn't even make sense. I'm working with it on a spreadsheet level, and I'm asking it to give me the output and then give me a file to download. Never, ever in like all my time in working with it have I asked for a file to download and it gives me the download file as like a code file, as like JSON or something like that, or CSV. It always gives me the file as XLS, because it's probably like CSV is the most universally accepted format, but like practically everybody has Excel or whatever, however you want to look at it. Oh man. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I just want to show you guys like how crazy frustrating this has been and why. This is what I've been dealing with. So, I really couldn't tell you, right? Like the primers are all here. So it has like all the information, right? What it's supposed to do is it's supposed to basically look at state, company size, number of employees, job title, job function, and company industry. And it is supposed to use this information line by line to answer the question that's in this column. Okay? This is what's been happening all day. Okay. Now, I've even told it, hey, let's do it in chunks so that maybe your brain doesn't get overloaded, because it seems like you're having a problem like doing it in like a giant pack. Using method that. And like, you know, here's the thing. Like, it's been so frustrating because I've gone again 6 ways from Sunday with the initial prompt. The initial prompt is like, take it 10, like the initial prompt is, let me pull it up. It's so ridiculous. I'd like your help with putting together a sample set of data. Once completed, will illustrate customer responses to questions that are asked to them of a marketing agency that they'll be working with. All the data represented is fictitious and is meant to be as if they represent real-world values. I'm giving you data sets that have 2 columns. The first column is a listing. This is when I was trying to make it more simplified, okay? Afterwards, right? I started using this, and it's this amount of data, and it seemed like it was just killing it to death. So I'm like, all right, fine, let's just do 2 columns then. So I'm giving you this data. The first column is a listing of industries. The second column is the header that asks the question, while the subsequent rows in column B are blank. Your goal is to assume the role of the position of director of marketing at the industry listed in the row of column A, so that you can answer in a 1-sentence answer to the header question of the same row in column B. Okay? You need to perform this function going 10 rows at a time so that you're not overwhelming yourself and trying to answer all of them at once. The response given should be written as natural, in as natural a writing style as possible, as if you are the person filling in the answer to the question. Do not show me your work. Do not show me your responses. Your job is to write these responses within the spreadsheet where indicated to do so, and then to give me the file to download after you've finished writing answers to every industry that is present in column A. Understand? That's the prompt. And the responses I'm getting are just ridiculous. Like, and I'm having to, you know, basically every little like change and modification that I'm making to actually get it to start working, I'm adding to the prompt. So it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's just, at this point, it's infuriating because it should not be this difficult. It really shouldn't be. Last week that I was doing this, it was really not that big a deal. It was getting difficult to get it to, like, this is terrible, right? At least before it was giving me, like, maybe it would give me the same sort of looking answer for every row. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. Even though it's got like the same things here, right? I don't care because at least it's still related to different industries, different setups and all that kind of stuff. I've been doing this for the better part of 4 hours now. That's how long it took to get to just this point. Okay, so let's see if we can actually make this useful now. Sorry for the rant. It's been a day, honestly, between this and just regular stuff going on. All right, so I don't even know which one it is. Let's go with that one. Hope for the best. Notice that even in the crafted prompt, it starts with "Hey GPT," right? Like asking it for its help, you know, saying like "please" and all that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know what you've done, OpenAI. I don't know what you've done. It's seriously upsetting. Because it's not just me. I'm hearing this from other users. I went on the forums, the dev forums this morning were saying that there were issues going on. I'm reading from other users on Facebook about their issues, on X about their issues, on LinkedIn I'm seeing people just talking trash about it. You know, I don't know what to tell you, but it's just bad. And now I'm gonna have to try to do in a half hour what I was hoping to have at least 45 minutes to do. So it's gonna be a blitzkrieg. You're better off you're almost better off waiting for the summarized video on this one, because I don't know, we'll see. All right, let's see, zoom in here so you guys can actually read what's going on. Okay, so I read the data sets, the new one that we just put together, and then it's got the information for tech stack and satisfaction response. That's not really, you know, it's not really going to do much for me, but it's whatever. Okay. So what I'm trying to do now is take the responses given about the tech stacks, balance those against industry, job function, and state, and using the top 10 pieces of information found out of those. Top 10 industries represented in the data set are diverse. Three or four industries and creating broad and balanced representation. Here's some state insights. So here's the next steps. We're going to take the answers from tech stack column. So there you go. Right. Tells you right out the gut. Given the qualitative nature of these responses, extracting common answers would require a textual analysis approach, focusing on identifying themes or frequently mentioned terms related to tech stack satisfaction and challenges within these top categories. So it was trying to do it, but it ran into a code error. Yeah, of course. Well, you should be ignoring. Okay. I'm sure it'll figure it out. I mean, at least, I'll tell you, at least there's not as much. Well, this one's primed. Like, I'm not asking it to, yeah. Like, I'm not asking it to generate data. I'm asking it to inference data, so it's different. Okay, so, yeah, those are not, like, real key terms that we're going to actually go off of. Let's do this instead. Let me see that. That's bad. Context is king. And that's the thing, is I don't mind backing up when like one line won't do. I don't mind backing up and, you know, giving it just a metric ton of additional context so that it sharpens the spear. It's just, again, when it came to, I don't know why when it comes to analyzing data, it's all right, and when it comes to generating, it's not doing so well. I would love to get some feedback from you guys about like your personal use this week and how it's been. Responsive. I mean, yeah, that's true. Highly varied. Common theme. Okay, so my approach didn't work. Fine. Do whatever you can. Just get me this information. That was cool. I showed some people how to use the HubSpot blog creator, AI blog creator the other day, and it's awesome to watch people's heads explode when they actually start using these tools and deep diving into them to do these kinds of things, to really push the bounds of what you think you've been doing on a creative level, especially on an ideation level. Gotcha. All right. Well, man, I really can't believe the answer is that it's too. I really can't believe the answer is they're too unique and that you can't find any commonalities in there. Like, this is what I mean by it's real weird to me. Hold on. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get the answers being too unique at all. Man. No, this conversation sucks. Oh, let's see. This is what I mean. Like, I'm having to like hold its hand. Like, hey, I can't do that. Can't figure out how to do it. Can't work it out. Like, dude, you can write code and you can't figure it out. Alright, well, when I tell you how to do what it is you're supposed to do, I guess it works. Like, that's the thing, is if I have to sit there and just every step of the way, I gotta, it's just like asking, you know, it's just like working with a human and having them come back and say, sorry, man, I couldn't figure it out. Okay, well, try doing it this way. Yeah, actually, when I did it that way and I organized it, I could find the common themes. Why weren't you doing it that way before? Like, of all the let me correct it and try it again methods, that one didn't come up. Whatever. Okay. Oh. Okay. So let's see the. See it like, and even this, right? Like, why are we recapping? Just do it. I just asked you to do it. I didn't ask you to like recap it. And even if this is a, we'll have to do this, do it on the back end. Why are you showing me? You're using up the context window, and now all you're gonna do in the end is ask me if you want to, if like I want to proceed with what you're gonna be doing, right? Instruments, okay. I don't like. Let's see. Okay, so all right, that's like this is, you know, I get it. I should have just asked for a table format of this, but again, like first of all, we didn't necessarily need the recap, right? I guess unless absolutely needed it or something. I don't know who would have really needed that, but even this breakdown and the way that it's broken down, it's like, okay, it is useful in terms of like readability, like yes, so it's useful in terms of knowing that it's possible and that those associations are there. This is actually actionable, right? Like I can quickly see the association. I don't have to go like look for it. Anyway, so let's say product management, customer feedback, and product design. Let's go to copywriter. Let's see. I just want to see what happens when I go super high level generic and ask for just an overall marketing campaign as opposed to like specific marketing campaign assets. A lot of thought going into it. It is, again, it is a huge overhead question, so. Now I just assume that it's choked up. Oh. Okay, so you're a founder. You've just started up your marketing agency, and you've got some customer data in your system, and that customer data includes some nondescript things such as state, job title, job function. So, like, I wanted to have other seriously meaningful answers here, but you know, it's whatever. So you have this data, this rough data, right? We talked about last time how to strip this data in order to make it as like nondescript as possible. I threw state in there just because I wanted to see, you know, how valuable that might be. But again, without the additional answers, it's not valuable at all. At least we'll see what it's like. But it could actually show some valuable data based on, again, once you compare all the insights against one another, right? So let's go back to just regular. I just want to see like what else it's going to. So it can go through, it's basically going to go through every job function, and it's going to start to give us this breakdown, right? What's interesting is that it's also showing us challenges that aren't present, because one of the questions that I had wanted to create dummy data for was like, what are your challenges? So while it's doing that, let's just go take a look at what's going on here. So it's creating a campaign based off of the dummy data that we gave it, which is fairly simple, right? Realistically, we're looking at the answers to this write-in data, and what is that going to give us? What can we actually infer out of that based on everything else that we have? Again, assuming that all of these people are customers in your system, not just leads. Like, the type of data that you're going to want to use to do this is customer data from the last 3 to 6 months, whatever your sales cycle is, right? So if your sales cycle from the time that somebody walks in the door to the point at which they take the keys out of your hand and drive the car off the lot, if that's 6 months, then you want to go every 6. If it's 3 months, you go every 3. If it's 30 days, every 30 days, whatever that time period is. But you want to get customers from that time period because customer data is what's worth it. If you're using any other type of data, I don't know. I mean, you could probably use it on the MQL level to maybe see what is attracting MQLs the most. But if your goal is dollars, you really should only be caring about your customer data because your customers are the ones purchasing from you. Your next secondary source would be your MQL data because that's your most marketable group that you're trying to convert, right? So today, let's assume we're looking at customer data. So we're able to create a campaign solely just based off of product management folks who are looking for topic number 3, which we define to be centering around software engineering, design, and customer feedback. This indicates a strong emphasis on product development and integration of customer input into the engineering process. So we're taking a look at that from a product management point of view, empowering innovation, integrating customer feedback into product design. So we've got our campaign title, we've got our objective, which of course we can modify, and we can even say like, hey, we change the objective to focus more on this. We've got at least an assumption of what our target audience is, which if we were able to, again, if I was able to have more answer data, we could fine tune that even further. Anyhow, key messaging. So some suggestions for key messages that we can use: innovate with intent, bridge the gap, data-driven design, community engagement. So you can use those all as like keywords, action words, right? And then showcasing success stories being part of it, highlighting tools and strategies that they can use, emphasizing the role of data that plays into everything, and building a community of product managers passionate about user-centric design. Community engagement is starting to become like a very, very big thing. So even in terms of, I'll get into this in a second, but even in terms of like this little campaign, building a community around this tiny campaign, I don't know, kind of depends. Like that's almost like an enterprise business move as opposed to like a founder move or small business move. Small business and founders, usually you don't have the bandwidth, you don't have the overhead to be able to facilitate the community. Content strategy. So types of content that you can use to achieve this. Notice that thankfully, snail mail is not anywhere in this. And to be totally honest, if you guys are still using snail mail for marketing, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I did come up with something recently. I don't know if it's actually plausible or not, for mailing services to use something, I don't know, RFID tags, something, so that you could at least know when your collateral actually hit the mailbox, or if it even hit the mailbox, right? So you can have sort of the same physical tracking as you would digitally on an email. Obviously, I mean, you could even somehow go with open rate. I'm not even, I don't know. It's possible. Like if the RFID is separated far enough from the back piece of paper. I don't know. It's whatever. So, yeah, snail mail, I don't know, but digital engagement, obviously. And I would consider this to be like omni-channel digital engagement. Distribution channels, LinkedIn, email, newsletter, industry forums, engagement tactics, again, through community building or feedback loop. Now, community building, again, you as a startup or SMB, building the community yourself, probably not going to be such a great idea. But if you do like a Slack or you do a Discord, that kind of gives you a little bit more control, simply because of the fact that you can invite people to specific channels so that they can't see the other channels, which could be your other industries or your other segments that you're targeting, let's say on a community level. They can all have their individual channels while you can see like the overall, so that you can still manage all of that while not having to worry about everybody else seeing each other's channel within your Slack or your Discord. It's something to think about, but it's also assuming that people are actually at that level of engagement depending on the industry. You have to sort of make that determination when it comes to community for yourself. Measuring the optimization, so sort of giving us a very brief understanding of this. Like we could say track engagement metrics across all axes. I'm probably going to dive into that and say like, okay, which KPIs in particular should we be looking for? So additional insights that I wanted to see. We've got some additional stuff for pretty much each, not every job function, but at least for some of the job functions. These insights can guide targeted content creation. So we were looking at engineering, I think. No, product management. Okay. That's product management one. Yep. Okay. Oops. So now I want to quote this. And I want to say, go back to my copywriter. Say, okay, so now since we've got this enhanced insight data about the product manager, let's go ahead and revise the marketing campaign based on that. So content strategy shifted to be from blogs to webinars, ebooks, and interactive content, and is now case studies, interactive workshops, and expert panels. So again, like that's quite the major shift from, again, going from like one line of data saying like, hey, so we're dealing with product management, customer feedback, and product design, right? From topic 3. So, use that. What do we got? So from that little bit of information, we've got like a pretty decent like segmentation or like, plan for marketing campaign. But then we went right, back to the initial bot that was doing all the work to begin with and asked, what additional insights can we pull from this data? And then when we got the additional insights, it's like, okay, well, when it comes to product management, we actually have a lot more when it comes to insight there. So now, based on those additional insights, let's see what that marketing campaign looks like, and we can get that completely redone with every aspect of it so that we understand how to speak more specifically to this group, right? Notice that now community is no longer a part of this. It seemed like a bad play even when I was looking at this initial plan, because it's like, look, we're talking about like people who are product managers. Like, I don't know that product managers are the type of people that jump on forums and get on community boards and are that like active. I don't know the sector. Maybe that is the case, and I'm totally wrong. But it just didn't really seem like it. So I can understand that not being a part of this new engagement or this new marketing campaign. So now that we have this updated version of it, we can say, okay, expert panels, right? We don't know a whole lot about that. I see. So again, like this is all coming from the mindset of like, hey, I just started a business. I just started my marketing firm, just started my marketing agency. How am I supposed to go about doing all of this stuff? It's from the perspective of like, hey, using GPT as your assistant, what does that look like? How much can you actually get done? Like, how effective is this thing, right? So in terms of getting the experts for the panel, strategies for acquiring them, types of experts that I should acquire, engaging potential speakers. Right. So even in terms of like, how should I work? Like, okay, so these are the types of people I should go after. How do I go after them? Like, how do I even talk to them? Okay, well, here's your engagement strategy as well. Right. Now let's talk about distribution channels, case studies, expert panels. Let's see. I want to quote that and say, so this is the overall marketing campaign, email marketing campaign aspect of it, right? It's like, I'm not asking it to come up with the number of emails. I'm not asking it to, you know, like show me what email is, you know, what it is, right? So now we've got subject line and content. So what happens if we go back and like add a little bit to that, right? Put a little bit of something extra on there. No, I should say, okay, the final. All right, let's do it that way. So now we've changed the premise of whatever we were going to be doing with this marketing campaign, and now we've changed it to essentially be a conversion campaign, right? That's going to be ending in us hopefully getting a meeting set up between you and the contact that it's going out to. So now we're getting our subject line or preview line, what the content is, visuals, and the CTA. So let's do this. I don't like to interrupt. Don't know. Like, this is another thing I've been running into. Has anybody else been running into this? Where it's giving you code responses as content. Like, I really don't this is what I've been talking about, like earlier, what I was talking about, like at the start, is just, you know what? Like, I'm not even gonna bother trying to correct this because I'm just gonna get frustrated with it. You can see where we were going. I'm going to try to have this actually set up by next week with the actual information. I guess it's gonna take me a week to get that, but we'll have it for next time. So